episode of Baseball Books and Banter with me, your host, Nicole. I know you feel like you just saw me release one, and the past 3 weeks, I have been so blessed to talk to a multitude of authors, but I definitely want to get this one out because it's from friend Adrian Andover, whose newest book, Poor Choices, comes out this week. So if you're listening to this, it's Sunday. It comes out, I believe, Tuesday. So make sure you pick it up wherever books are sold. He's got a ton of events coming up to release it, a lot of Facebook. He's doing a virtual book tour and also an in-person one if you're in the Jersey area. So the Jersey state, I guess the area is big, but you know what I mean. And hopefully, by the time I talk to him again at Malice Domestic, he will then be an Anthony Award winner from BoucherCon. I believe BoucherCon's the Anthony's. But his book, his first book, Whiskey Business, won so many awards, well deserved. And he's also just a genuinely nice human being. And like we talk about in the podcast, 2 years ago at not this past Malice, but the Malice before, was like a perfect storm of people coming together. I met so many great friends. And it's just, Malice has been one of my favorites. Unfortunately, this year I couldn't go because gas prices decided to explode for certain reasons. I wonder why. But Malice has been where I met some of my best cozy mystery friends, including Stephanie King, whose debut cozy I am reading currently. She's probably really annoyed because it's been taking me a while because I get books in between and I'm like trying to focus. And then also I have a friend, Becky Sue Epstein, who's also wrote her debut cozy, and so I'm reading that as well. But regardless, let's get back to the pod. Since we spoke 5 days ago, the Red Sox decided to like win so far 3 out of 4 against the first place Yankees, second place Yankees, whatever they are. So, just when I think they're out, they pull me back in, and it's been enjoyable to beat the Yankees. Tonight they play, and hopefully we go for the sweep, and I would not be mad at that. So thanks, Red Sox. Granted, they're still way below 500 and not in the playoff hunt for real. Although the AL is so bad, the American League, that they aren't completely out of it. They could still be a wild card team. So they just have to play as they've been playing for the past couple weeks, and hopefully they keep doing it and really I enjoy winning. Who knew? Peyton Tolley, still the best. He's just adorable and I love him. And Conley Early being cute. And I'm really glad Caleb Durbin is doing better because he was maligned at the beginning of the season, quite rightly. Not his fault. He was traded here. But hopefully they get somebody else, another big bat, to see what happens. So that's my little Red Sox hot take. The USA men's soccer team made it to the knockout round. So that starts this week. They play Bosnia-Herzegovina, I believe. So that'll be fun. And then I went to a class a couple weeks ago at the Cozy Cottage on resin pressed flowers, dried flowers. And I had fun, and I found resin that you don't have to work too hard to use, which is also nice. So I spent the weekend. I tried drying one of my mom's peonies from her garden as a remembrance. That did not go well. So that coaster did not turn out nicely. But then I decided to make some bookmarks. Are they great? No. Are they pretty? Not even a little bit. But then I perfected it last night, and I made these cute little ones to hand out at book events in the near future. So if you're at one of my, I think Rhode Island on July 11th, I will have a couple of these to just, if you buy a book, you get a cute little bookmark, homemade bookmark by moi. I will say, if you follow me on Instagram, you will see that Captain had a really good time with me doing that last night. She definitely enjoyed interrupting my crafting time. So thanks, Captain. She's sleeping now because, of course, they do that after they bug me. So anyway, that's about it. It's been, like I said, we just talked a couple days ago, so it's not like I have a ton to talk about, but I really want to get into this discussion with Adrian. we end up getting real serious real fast. But also every time we schedule this, we're like, oh, we're going to talk about how your family's tangentially related or has a tangential relationship to the Pittsburgh Pirates, and we'll talk a little baseball and do all that. And we never get there because I just want to fangirl the whole time. So enjoy the pod, and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to Adrian Andover / Andrew to the podcast. I'm so excited because I was just telling him before we started coming on that last night I was finishing the book and I got to 90% on the Kindle and I was like, I have to fall asleep because I'm old. And so I was like, okay. So I fell asleep and then I was like, I'm going to finish it this morning. And of course, at 90%, like I know who the killer is now. So I just needed to find out the rest of what happened. But then in the acknowledgments, he mentioned me and I almost started crying. I was so happy because it was the first time. And we were just discussing how 2 years ago, Malice Domestic, where we met, your first book was getting ready to come out, I think, right? And it was like it was a moment in time with all the authors that we like kind of coalesced together with Paul.
It's like summer camp. It's
It
like you had
was.
to be there kind of thing. It
And
was
this
just
year,
magical.
I wasn't there because gas
We missed
prices.
you.
I missed you guys, like FOMO. No, I blame the president because of gas prices. No politics, but like politics. Um, and before we even get further into this, congratulations to the award-winning author,
Thank
Anthony,
you.
Agatha. What's the lefty?
The Anthony, I haven't won
Oh,
the
you're good.
Anthony. So BoucherCon is in October. So I'm
Yeah.
floored to even be nominated for any of them, but let alone the Anthony Award is huge. But it was the Lefty Award
Yes, that's right.
at Left Coast Crime and the Agatha at Malice
And
Domestic. I'm
obviously the
so honored and grateful. And I still don't think it's fully sunk in yet. It's
Do you have have they given you the award? Like, did you get to take
Yeah,
them?
they're on my shelf over here.
Perfect.
I can
Perfect.
grab them if you want to see them.
I wasn't sure if it was like the Oscars where they send it to you later or the Emmys. I don't know if that's what happens, but
No, so actually, can we edit this little chunk out? I'll actually go grab
sure,
them and then
sure.
bring them over and I'll talk about them.
Sure.
Oh, let me 1 second here.
We're gonna try to edit it out. I mean, you're very high on my skills at the moment, so we'll see what happens.
All right. If we can't edit it out,
This will
then
just be a little vamping. It's fine. Ooh, that's
yeah.
the
So
lefty one.
so this is the lefty. It is a real chunk of the Golden Gate Bridge
That's really cool.
because it was in San Francisco this
Oh,
year. And so here it is.
oh my God. That's really cool.
And yeah, so they did renovations on the Golden Gate Bridge back in like it says on here somewhere,
Yeah.
1993. And so this is a real piece of that. So this I did have to have it shipped
Yeah.
because I was told, you might not want to like try to get this on the plane.
Yeah. The
And
Agatha
then
is
this,
much easier to transport. Yeah.
well, and I can drive to DC.
Right.
So
Look at that.
yeah, I just to even like see these in front of me is still just
Yeah.
because, before even being nominated for these awards, I had gone to like the Wikipedia pages and
Yeah.
like just you read the authors and the incredible books that have come out over the years. And so to be even considered, but then let alone to win, it just doesn't even.
And I'm manifesting you've won the Anthony in my head. So it's obviously you're a shoe in.
Oh,
I
thank
say
you.
as I don't really know who the other ones are right now off the top of my
There's
head.
some great books. I can't, of course, list them off
Of
the top
course.
of my head right
Right.
now, but there's some really great
I
books out
have
there.
been since I came out with mine way back before the pandemic. Um, the quality of cozy mysteries has been so great lately, and we talked about this a little bit last time, but and we'll continue because the reason you're here is not just because we're friends and I want to gush over you,
Oh,
but because your second book in the series, Poor Choices, comes out on the 30th, and
here it
this will
is.
hopefully get posted on the 30th. And look at that.
Go get it.
And I will
Please.
say the covers are so great. They fit well together. Um, And I just noticed in the acknowledgments, oh, look at see, well,
There they are.
look at
Don't
that.
they? Come on, don't you just want both of these on your shelf?
I mean, or in your Kindle like me, because they're definitely there. But if you get them for your shelves, you can get them signed.
Yes, you
Yeah.
can't. I think it was Stephen King who said you can't sign the Kindle,
No. Although some people bring their Kindle cases to Malice and they have that signed, and I'm like,
which
oh,
is
that's a great
really
idea.
cool.
Yeah, that's a smart idea because then you could keep it forever. My thing is I have a clip-on case to my computer so that I can put all my stickers on it, and then as it
Mm.
fills up I can pop it off and I put it in a picture frame, so when I eventually get a writing office I can put all the different computers I use to write my masterpieces. But yeah, I'm really excited that the second one's coming out. And for those that don't know, it's set in a literary speakeasy, mixology. The drinks sound delicious, and it's a queer protagonist, which is something that's not seen 100% of the time in cozy mysteries. So before we get fully into everything, kind of give for those that didn't listen to the first podcast, which go back and listen, guys, because like it's
It
amazing.
was a good
It
conversation,
was a great,
especially with what was going on in baseball at the
and
time.
we're probably not even going to talk about baseball again because I have so much to talk to you about the book. But tell people a little bit about yourself and how you came to this journey.
Yeah, so Adrian Andover. I have always been a writer in some form or fashion. It started off for me as songwriting. That was, I'm still to this day a huge music geek. I'm a guitar player. You might see the
I
guitars
see the
back
record
there.
player too.
Yeah, I have my
Really
record
nice.
player, my vinyl collection down there.
Yep.
So I I have just always been like a huge music person, and throughout high school, college, I was writing songs and performing at open mic nights and small art festivals and cafes and even a couple of bars. And I also went to some writing workshops, things like that. So, and I've always been an avid reader. It was
Yeah.
then in 2020 when there was a certain world event that
What are you
happened
talking
and we
about?
couldn't really go anywhere or do anything. Um, and it was right around the time that I don't know if you remember Mia P.
Yes.
Manansala's Arsenic and Adobo. It was one of the book of the month
Mm-hmm.
books, and it was a big moment for cozy mysteries. And
Yeah.
like at that time I was really starting to binge certain series and just falling in love with the characters, feeling like it was kind of a sitcom.
Mhm.
um you know being able to travel to locations that I couldn't just get on a plane and go to, or even just be in a setting like a coffee shop or a bookstore, which like places were closed or just wasn't the
Yeah.
same. But I wasn't seeing myself represented there. And it was also like a time where for my day job, I wasn't having to commute anymore and I had these extra hours in my day. So I was getting into a daily writing practice. So it
Yeah.
wasn't long before those paths kind of converged and I started writing my own cozy mystery, went through the whole, trying to query,
Mhm.
didn't really get anywhere with that. It was a completely different concept from the mixology series. I then wrote Whiskey Business, almost shelved that, and
Thank God you didn't.
I know, thank goodness. That I'm so just life feels so random as you're
Yeah.
going through it, and then you look back and you see
The
one thing leads to
it's
another.
random, but it's also I think people don't realize it's hard work, and a lot of it's luck, but you need something to back up that luck. And I think, especially after the pandemic, because I also was in the query trenches and it just kind of never really clicked until um, Twitter. So I think, yeah, it's always like a happy set of accidents, but there's a lot of stuff that leads up to those accidents for it to happen.
Yeah, you have to find your moment, I
Yeah,
guess. And for me, that was kind of uh, realizing that traditional publishing wasn't the path for me at the time. I mean, I am not writing off the possibility of ever writing
sure.
something that goes traditional in the
Attention, big
future.
five. I mean, we're not saying you're great.
I know I would be more than happy,
Yeah,
but I
right.
think you brought up the point of like writing a queer protagonist and not seeing that all the time. And I think so much of publishing can be a numbers game sometimes, and so there can be a reluctance to like
Sure.
publish anything that isn't
In the box.
tried and true proven to like
Right.
drive those sales, drive those numbers. And so I hope that by writing this series, I mean, not to say that there haven't been queer
Oh, of course
protagonist
not.
cozies
No.
traditionally published, but for me to write it and like then to win some of these awards and show
Yeah.
like you can do it with a queer male protagonist, you can do it indie published.
Mhm.
That I think is what means the most to me is about those achievements
Yeah,
is like any path is valid as long as you
sure.
believe in your story and you prioritize your connections with your
Yeah.
reader.
And I think it really comes across because you don't, I mean, when you're reading the book, it's not like you're going, oh my God, this is a gay guy. Oh my God. You know what I mean? Like it's a cozy and you're just still in that world. And again, I told you this last time too. The supporting characters are really great. And I think that helps lift the book into that cozy world of, the best friend, the supportive parents who, he's always a little nervous that they're not like 100% on board with everything. I will say, no spoilers, but there were parts of the book that I was like giggling and kicking my feet because
Aw.
I'm so glad. But it's just, I think it's just, it helps normalize the fact that cozies are for everybody. And there shouldn't be a barrier. Like it's not just old ladies, knitting or crafting, which I love, but I don't do that.
Well,
So,
and then on the queer side of things too, like I believe we need more stories of queer joy.
no,
We need more stories of healthy relationships between men, where men aren't competing,
no. Oh,
and
funny
and
you should
and
bring that up because there was part of the book that I highlighted and I loved it and I
Ooh.
giggled when he was at the barber shop and they were like broing out and he was like, "This is a barber shop for men. We talk about sports and cars and grilling steaks." And I thought that was hysterical because as someone who watches a lot of TikToks, you can see that toxic masculinity side, and I just love the acknowledgement of that. Hey, there are some bros out there, but it's still a cozy world, and you're not judging them necessarily, but just showing the breadth of the world, basically, which is fun. But I giggled at that part. I was like, I say that too.
Yeah, and that's something that I hope it comes across, all right, in a sense that like, not trying to put
No,
anybody down, but just realizing that there are still spaces that exist that are that like hyper masculine kind of space that can be uncomfortable for
intimidating.
anybody who doesn't maybe fit in those
Yeah, boxes. I mean,
privileged, kind of yeah,
as a woman, I feel that I had somebody who was like, "Oh, they just bought a boat in South Carolina and sailed up the coast." I'm like, "It was a boy, wasn't it?" And she was like, "Yeah, it was a 20-year-old guy." And I was like, "Yeah, that would never cross a woman's mind to be like, let me just sail up the East Coast by myself." Or Connie Hambley, who is a mystery author as well, her son biked across the United States and like camped, and I was like, no, and I watch Dateline and stuff, but like, and I do a lot of stuff by
it
myself.
would not be me, but
No, me neither. And not also, it's one of those, it's a privileged space, like you said, that they come from. But also, I mean, he even acknowledges a little bit of his privilege of being a white man living in Pennsylvania. It's not, he might have a little bit of the differences, but not, it doesn't like a lot of it. I'm trying to like word this in a way that makes sense because it's like he doesn't dwell on it. Nobody in the neighborhood dwells on it. They're not living in this world where he's an other.
yeah, well, and I think part of that too is he's in his early
Mm-hmm.
30s. He went through, he had been engaged to Chloe for 7 years. So like he has lived a life where he's been
Yep.
passing.
Yep.
And there are certain things like that. There's when you talk about intersectionality when it comes to uh diversity, like Reese's experience as a white gay man is going to be vastly different than like a trans woman of
Yeah,
color.
right.
And there's other, diversity strands that you can't turn off your race
Yeah,
or in certain cases how you express your religion. Like there
right.
are things where, and so like being a character like Reese, and like it's something that I've experienced in my life, is like looking at your own privilege
Mm,
and noticing like, oh, being able to like turn it on or off when
yeah,
it's convenient for you, and like you really have to like kind of check yourself
yeah.
and
Like my customer
and
service voice when I'm at work, it's like, oh yes, this is great, this is great. And then when I'm off camera, I'm like, F those guys. Like, it's kind of knowing the limits of yourself, but knowing the limits of everybody around you too. And I think that's one of the things that I love about cozies is it drops you into this world and you feel comfortable automatically. And hopefully that comfort will then extend outward so that people, if you're not a queer person, if you're not don't know all the lingo and all that kind of stuff, but you take it outside into the world, you might be a little bit more understanding. You might be a little bit more open to learn things, which I think is why it's important to read books from other races, other religions. Oh my God. Like that's why book bans, I mean, that's one of the reason book bans are so annoying because it's like, no, you got to read all these things because then maybe it's empathy. I mean, really, guys.
well, and that's the thing is like, and it's not just, I don't want to call them the more serious things, but
Um,
it's not just, like it's important to read books by authors whose experiences are different from your
yeah.
own. But like even to think of like a book like Arsenic and Adobo, where
Oh
like I learned so much about Filipino
my God.
food and
Yeah.
culture, or another series I love is Ellie Alexander's Sloane Krause series, and like learning about craft
Yep.
brewing, like beer brewing, like it's such a low stakes way
Yep.
to learn about the world
And
and
have
different
fun.
types of people and hobbies, and
Yeah.
yeah,
And humanize
playing.
everybody. I mean, it is not to be all serious, but we're all humans. Like,
Oh, we're getting
I,
deep though.
I mean, I hate people, but like, do you? I know. I was just thinking. I'm like, as we were talking, I'm like, wow, this turned real serious, real fast, and we're
Oh,
talking.
I go
So
there. I go there right away.
I know. I'm like, oh, okay. So let's get back to the fun stuff because everything you just said, amazing. I agree with. And like I said, but again, you're not going into the book. You're not going, oh, this is a gay book. Oh, this is a diverse book. It's
Yeah,
a cozy, and it's just for everybody.
and I think that's what's important to me
Yeah.
is like really honoring the craft of a
Mhm.
mystery, and like hopefully keeping that at the front and center.
Yes.
You of course have to have the vibes, the atmosphere, the cozy setting.
So many vibes.
And that's the future I dream of, is
Yeah.
like rather than like necessarily having to come out, it's just
Yeah.
a 17-year-old kid coming home with his
Boy.
boyfriend
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, mom and dad, this is my," and
Mhm.
it's, and I feel like in whiskey business, that's kind of, um, I don't know, I can't say
I
too
know.
much
No
more, but I
spoilers,
want to
but
show what
wink,
support
wink,
looks like.
wink,
Yeah, I
wink.
want
I
to.
understand, and it hits. I will say that. I do want to say, as you're a non-pet owner, right?
I That is true.
But you write pets well. So Jameson is my favorite ginger kitty ever. And again, I highlighted two passages because again, it made me giggle. And also you write it very well
Oh,
where
I love this that you're reading the.
I know I'm like trying my Kindle's now not turning on. When like we all do as pet parents, because I just did it like an hour ago with my cats, was big stretch, big yawn every time. And I was like, he knows that. And then also when the cat was making biscuits and you said, how did I know you were hungry for biscuits? And I do that as well. So how do you write about pets as a non-pet owner?
Oh, well, I had cats
Okay.
growing up. Shout
Okay.
out to Chessie and Maggie May. Those were my beloved childhood calico sassy cats.
Madeline, he's talking calico cats. You got to get up here.
Oh, I gotta see Madeline
I
now.
know eventually she'll come back up. I don't know if
She'll warm up.
let me see.
But as I was writing Whiskey Business, oh, Madeline, you are just, oh, you are
She is
beautiful.
so pissed. She's 10, so she just doesn't like anything. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's my
those
calico
calicos
baby.
are
Feisty.
something else. But as I was writing Whiskey Business, I did not expect
Yeah,
Jameson to show up. And I don't think it's a huge spoiler that we're talking about
I agree.
Jameson
No.
showing up. But I had a thorough outline of the book. I knew everything that was going to happen. And that summer I was back home at my mom's house, and I have two moms, so when I say they,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. So when I was back at their house for my cousin's wedding, I was back for like 10 days, and they had just adopted two brothers, Walter and Abraham, and they were just kittens, and they are like an amalgamation. Like Jameson is the two of them
Okay.
combined. They will let you pet and scratch and rub, and they just do not care. They
Yeah.
will take all the loving. They are not sassy. They are not, they want all the attention. They want just all the
Yeah.
cuddles, all the, So Jameson just kind of walked into the story
Yeah.
because of them. And what was really fun for me about this second book, and especially now that I'm writing the third book, Jameson is developing much more of a personality. And Reese is kind of projecting that personality onto him, but I
Of
think
course.
as like pet owners, like you do that. Like you see their personality and you make up a whole story, like backstory,
Kidding me? Yeah.
about
Of course
what
I
they're
do.
doing when you're not home. So
What they're
I've
doing
had,
when I'm at home. Like I'm like, what are you doing?
oh,
You go hanging out. Oh, you're gonna do this. Like, oh my God, crazy person talk is what
yeah,
it
like,
is.
come on, Madeline, get back in from smoking cigarettes
Yeah.
outside. Like, you lay
Yeah.
off and it's like, of course she's not smoking
Right.
cigarettes, but like you're,
Maybe maybe that's because we live alone. So it makes you feel less crazy. And Reese is the same. It's just makes you feel less when there's living things in the house and you're talking out loud, it feels less crazy than when I'm not with anybody.
well, and on that topic, for anybody who is, and I just turned to the page
Oh my
magically,
God.
anybody who is reading the book, end of chapter 4, that is like a moment where like, so you don't even have to read that. It's page 37.
Okay.
When you get there, there's just like that is like a piece of writing, like pet
Yeah.
cat writing that like when I get there, I'm just like, man, I wrote that and I'm proud that I
That
wrote
was
that.
good.
Like that's a good moment.
Yeah, I love when books like things like that happen. And I talked with the Valerie Taylor about this week too, that I feel like the pets also kind of like characters talk to you, but I feel like the pets sometimes talk to you too. I don't my pets are kind of a little bit more in the background because you can't really have a pet at the ballpark. You can't have cats at the ballpark. But I mean, there's still moments of personality. And I think like our characters, they sort of speak to you and they want to come out quicker. And hey, give me some more personality. I'm adorable and write about me, please. Um, I will say I still it's not a spoiler, but I ship Nate and Reese. I don't care that they're best friends. I think they're adorable. Just so you know. But I also ship Julian because he sounds a dreamy and he owns a bookstore. So I'm an equal opportunity shipper. I love a good love triangle. I'm just saying, if you're going to write that in the future, I would read it because I love a love triangle. But that's just me, not for anybody else.
Yeah, that's interesting to me because like for me, like I am so fortunate to
Yeah,
have some like just great guys in my life that
right.
it's a completely platonic
And I'm wondering if
thing.
that's sort of what I pick up on shipping them as just the best bros that could ever bro. Like that they don't think of
Yeah.
each other in silos. They think of each other just as Reese and Nate. So maybe in my head, that's like just the ultimate romance is even a platonic friend, just
Yeah,
knowing you.
and yeah, and any reader I would encourage like to take the story, make it your own,
Yeah.
and interpret it however you do. So like I'm not trying to ruin that dream for anybody
No,
out there,
no,
but I there's something kind of sacred to me about
sure.
their friendship. I mean, I guess you never really know, maybe. But yeah, that's part of like what I was talking about earlier about like just seeing healthy relationships
Yeah.
between men and men being able to get a little emotionally
Oh, yeah.
vulnerable and it not be
100%.
a uh romantic kind
Yeah.
of thing.
And I do love the relationship Nate has with Reese's family too. And I think that's also important to show, that this and again, it's a cozy thing. It's just the family is so cohesive and
Oh,
so
community is wonderful.
it's
I
just
just
I love everybody in the book except the bad guys. And even there, the bad guy in this one I think was a little bit less misunderstood than some of the other ones. But by the time it wrapped up, you're like, oh. And so I feel like, oh God, we're gonna run out of time again, as always, because like I just want to chitty chat with you all day. But I think so Poor Choice says it centers around a comedy show. So you have jokes. You got jokes. Now, did you sit there and write out a set to put? I know there's a couple moments where there's like a joke book that goes around, or kind of how did you infuse that part of the book with the comedy?
yeah, I wish I had it with me, but I have just a journal going at all times that I'm just scribbling little notes and tidbits on. On my phone, I have a note called Observed and Overheard, and it
Ooh,
is my like file of everything that I've eavesdropped
observed and
or
overheard.
and I have heard some crazy things
Sure.
and so those things I refer to often to try to like see how I can work them in.
Yeah.
So there were a couple of things like that. Um, and then another thing that I do, which maybe it's weird, maybe it's not. I live alone, as we kind of have established. Um, and some days, like when I just have stuff to get off my chest, and my therapy appointment is
Sure.
still like off in in the future, I'll just open a voice note on
Hmm.
my phone and I'll just like
Stream of
talk
consciousness.
out my day and it'll often like go off in tangents where I start telling stories and
Yeah.
it's like a really good way to document.
Your headspace.
That's something that I started to do was like there's just certain memories that I have and certain stories that when they pop in my mind, I'm like, I haven't thought about that in
Yeah.
15 years. Like, so I'll just tell the story into my phone. And so, and then I'll often like riff off of myself almost like I am kind of like
Sure.
a stand-up comedian kind of thing. So
I wonder if that's a little bit of your songwriting background too, where you're kind of just riffing and kind of trying
I
to mold stuff together out of randomness. Well, writers do that too, but
I think so. I mean, going back to what we were saying at the very beginning, like I just think that like because I started songwriting as like a 9 or 10 year old and they were
um,
awful, horrible
hello, I
songs.
was poetry until college, so I feel that. Um,
But just this like undying need to like
mhm.
try to make sense of myself through art and
Yeah,
creativity. It was songwriting, it was, I mean, even my journaling practice and those voice notes, like
yeah,
it's me just trying to make sense. And like if I can't put it into words, it doesn't make sense. But
yeah.
once I can
Get it
put
out.
it into words, it does. And like then for like my mom to read, actually all four of my parents have read Whiskey Business and they all commented on maybe like the experience doesn't match mine but
Yeah,
they can see my heart and my spirit in the story and I
yeah,
do think that like I just draw very heavily upon my own. It's me I'm my stories
yeah.
are me trying to understand myself.
Right. No, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful
But
because I
like you
just
said, I think we're all trying to do that
yeah,
in
and
whatever
I
way.
right, and in our own little corner of the world of cozies, some people write these philosophical existential books, and then some of us put it into a cozy because we're just trying to make sense of, well, as we said at the beginning, a craziest world. And sometimes you just need comfort and even writing that sometimes is like you're so fun not talking about like things that are overheard and whatever observed. The Red Sox have not been good. And I blame it on analytics. And I got so mad this week that I started writing a whole scene about how bros are ruining are ruining baseball with their analytics. And that's in book 4 because I was like, yeah, I need to get this out on the page and just like word vomit all these math is ruining the game and blah, blah, blah. I feel like I'm like your relative from way back at the Pittsburgh Pirates is probably like eating hot dogs and smoking cigs on the bench. But it's one of those things that I think even in a cozy, while we are comforted, while we are very much in the community, you can still say big things and
Oh
have big
yeah.
feelings. And I think your books really do that well. Um, Ellen Byron's are always really great. And hers read like a sitcom. I feel like I talk about her all the time because I just love the way she writes. But there's a lot. Edith Maxwell does really good series with real life situations happening in it, and I think people read them thinking, "Oh, it's a light and frothy read," and they don't know they're also getting a little bit of an education, and it's permeating their everyday life. And I think that's the best part of being a writer and being a cozy author. And I appreciate you for doing that.
Oh, thank you so much. I couldn't imagine doing it any other way. And I think that, when you have a murder
Murder.
in any
Yeah.
small, I think it was maybe Leslie Budowitz who said
Okay.
this. I watched an interview that she had done about like when such a tragedy strikes a small town, the way that like they organize a spaghetti dinner and a
Yep.
pancake fry and like everybody comes together
Yep.
and it's like that kind of thing. Like in that sense, I don't know how I would ever write a mystery that's not cozy because like
Right.
there is that element of like I want to show how like such tragedy can actually bring people
Oh yeah.
together. I mean, it
100%.
sucks that
I know.
anybody had to die,
Sorry
but
you're dead, but my neighbors are great.
yeah, how can you commit yourself to sleuthing if you
Yeah.
don't feel some sort of emotional
Attachment.
connection? And
Yeah.
so like I just don't think I can write anything without that heart
Yeah.
at the
Which
front
is
and
why I
center.
always kill people that don't live in the town because I'm like, all right, it's a real town and I don't want them to get mad at me. And B, because I think it is a little bit of that the outsider coming in. And so I highly recommend it. I'm going to be writing a review on Poor Choices very
Oh,
soon,
thank
so you'll
you.
see it before it gets published. Before we go, because we have 6 minutes left, I'm watching the countdown. Do you have books that you just read and or that always recommend, or your favorite books to recommend to
Mm.
people, or one you
It's
just
not,
finished and you're like, I don't know if I recommend it, but like I read it.
yeah, I mean, it's not cozy and it's actually nonfiction, but I just read, it's called um Monsters in the Archives, My Year of Fear with Stephen King
Oh
by
gosh.
Caroline Bix. This University of Maine professor got access to like the original manuscripts of Carrie and The Shining and Pet Cemetery and like massive books for Stephen King. And if you're a writer or you just love stories or like you're a big Stephen King fan like I am,
I was gonna
like
say you're a big Stephen King guy, so that's
I
like
am, but like to see like actual snippets of his actual manuscripts and like learn how these books came together, that like 50 years later they're still
I mean, being made
huge,
into TV
like
still and movies, and yeah.
yeah, so that was fascinating for me. And then I've been on like a little bit of a throwback kick. I started the I had never read it before. Harlan Coben's Myron Bolitar series. I
Okay.
started that from the very beginning. So it's like going all the way back to 1995 or six, I think, was when the first one came out.
Okay.
And that's a sports
Yep.
mystery.
Okay.
So
I'll check it out.
not,
I haven't read a lot of Harlan Coben, although I know he has a new show out. on Netflix
Oh, he
because
always has a new
I
one.
mean, it's like every
Yeah.
5 minutes he's got a new show, and I'm like, great. Where can people find you in the? So this will probably get published, we'll say on the 29th, just in time for the book publish. So where can people find you in the coming weeks?
Oh, I'm gonna
And
be
winning
if
all the awards at VoucherCon.
oh, thank you. I wow. So I think I'm going to every Cozy Mystery
Mhm.
Facebook group. I'm calling it my Facebook takeover
Love it.
tour. I think each week after the release for like 4 or 5 weeks, I have a different
Oh,
one. So if any of you out there are a member of any of those groups, look out for my
and I think
takeovers.
they're all on your events page, right? So people can just,
Yeah.
and I'll link to your page so people can find it
Yeah,
easy.
actually, you're smart. Go to adrianandover.com, click on the events uh,
Tab
tab
page.
page. You can find my upcoming listing of all of my in-person and virtual events. And then I would say Instagram is probably the best place to get in touch with me. I have more engagement on Facebook, I find, so I need to
Interesting.
spend a little more time over there. But Instagram is like where I'm actually
Like I hate
lurking,
Meta,
and
obviously. Like we all hate the technology bros, but like
it's rough.
Instagram threads and Facebook being linked has been like bueno, because then I don't have to do it in 5 different places. And I enjoy that because I like to do it one and done. Although I will find, I don't know, this is going to be a Nicole Aslan boomer gripe of the day. That Instagram sometimes doesn't save my captions anymore, and I have to go in and add the captions again. And I hate that because I craft such beautiful captions.
Oh, same. And
Okay.
I try to edit them, and
Yep.
I do try to put effort into the
Right.
captions, and I want my content to be
Yep.
accessible to everybody. I even with live, like I want to do more live content, but like the live captioning I don't think is quite there
Okay.
yet, um, with their built-in caption
Mhm.
tool. So but yeah, I appreciate
Okay.
that you
I'm
put
glad that
such.
you're having the same issue because that makes me feel better. It's not a Nicole issue, it's an Instagram issue. Um, Also, your Instagram's great because on Wednesdays you waffle and you ask questions. So
Good at that.
people answer the questions and engage because that's what us writers need, authors need is engagement. And we love engagement. But we still didn't get to your pirate story.
I
Every
guess maybe
time.
book three we'll talk
Yeah.
about
Book
the
three.
story.
Or
I
you could be like Olivia and just come back every like 6 months, even if you don't have a book, because we just talk and you can come
honestly
back.
we would probably benefit from me not having a book to
Right.
talk about where
Right.
we could just talk about that. But I wanted to say I love coming on your show because I don't have to worry about doing my hair. I know that I'm gonna be wearing my
Mhm.
Pittsburgh Pirates hat and I can
Mhm.
just put it on and this
I worry about my hair because look at that gray spot right there. My hair
oh,
dyes points not until later this month. So I'm like,
please.
oh my God, it looks like a bald spot every time I look at it. But that's just me thinking
You should
about it.
have worn your Red
I
Sox.
know. Well, they're so bad. Well, they won two in a row, but they've been bad. And I'm very upset with them, but I'm also like still listening.
Oh,
So,
I'm always going to represent.
you
I mean,
know,
I'm a Pirates
hoist the
fan,
cone,
so
my friend, hoist the cone. Just like up here, we have the Tartan Army put cones on everything. And I guess the Pirates do that too. So there you go. Um, but thank you so much again for joining and congrats on the book and all the awards and go pick it up and good luck at VoucherCon.
thank you so much for having me. I can't wait for next time, and I will keep tagging you in any comments where somebody mentions my hat.
Love it. See, great person, great human, great discussion. So go pick up Poor Choices wherever you buy your books. Support your local indie, and good luck at the VoucherCon Awards, Adrian. I've got my fingers crossed. Even though I love all the authors, he's been one that I think has just been an infusion of energy into the genre. So fingers crossed. So since I only talk, I'm going to keep saying it. It's been such a crazy week that I haven't really read a lot. I re-signed the contract with Level Best to re-release books 1 and 2 in the Ballpark Mysteries before. I'm sorry. Oh my God, Freudian slip. The Minor League Mysteries. Please don't sue me. Um, for the release of book 3. I sent back my developmental edits. So I think next in line is a cover. So you'll stay tuned for that. And then I've just been kind of watching a lot of sports and reading some books and making bookmarks. And today I'm really excited. And I actually meant to talk about this before, but in August, every end of July, beginning of August, there's a women's professional baseball league starting up. And I think there's like 4 or 5 teams, 6 teams all over the country, but they're all playing in one of the Midwest states, Indiana, I believe, Illinois, one of the two I states. But today they're actually doing like a road trip to the Brockton Rock Stadium, which is 20 minutes from my house. So I'm going to head over there at lunchtime, go see some of these amazing athletes and get really excited for the women's professional baseball league. So as a non-player myself, it's really exciting when you can see people doing what they love. And they're just, I mean, if you've watched Banana Ball lately, they have a lot of women on there, not a lot, that's an exaggeration, but they have women on their team who pitch just as well as the guys, hits just as well as the guys. So why not them? Look at how well the WNBA has been. Just give chances, guys. Like we talked about that in the podcast. A lot of it's just empathetic. Like if why are you gatekeeping things? Don't gatekeep, guys. Just be cool. Like we all like different things. We all like to do different things. And just let people be people. Like, what are we doing? So that I'm really excited about, and I can't wait for those games to start. Like I said, the Red Sox play tonight, so hopefully we'll keep the good vibes going. I did mention this book last week, and I finally emptied all of my Barnes and Noble bags because I'm still catching up on my library books. I've just finished one. Another one's my bathtub book, and then I have one that's I'm going to take with me to the ballpark to read in between stuff. But this is the one I was talking about, The Fatal Unpleasantness at Netherfield by Claudia Gray. I actually recommended this to the bookseller because I said, oh, if you're a fan of Jane Austen, these are all the characters. It's the daughter or the son of Darcy and Lizzie and the Tilneys. So it's really just kind of fun. The first one was The Murder of Mr. Wickham, which if you read Pride and Prejudice, you know that that's fair. This is the second book in that series I was talking about, The Unrelenting Earth. I just finished The Surviving Sky. So now I'm definitely going to finish that one. And then this one just looked pretty, The Prince Without Sorrow. And again, I definitely judge books by the covers. So yep. And that's why I bought this one last night at the Hollywood Canteen. And then A Crime Through Time, Miss Darcy Investigates. Again, very much into this is Georgina Darcy. What's his name? Sister. Mr. Darcy's sister. So that's all that. And I gave you the book updates. July 11th, see me down in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. July 31st, I'm going to be doing a mystery making with the Sisters in Crime at the Cape Cod Writers Conference. Books will be for sale there. And then in August, I will be at the ARIA conference down in Warwick, Rhode Island, not selling, but supporting the Sisters in Crime New England. And again, if you have any questions about the organization, feel free to reach out. And on that note, happy reading and go Red Sox.